Good morning, everybody, and to those who are listening to the recording through YouTube. My name is Susan, and I will be your host today for Soul School Network. This is the 14th of September, 2025, and we are so delighted that Don Paul has agreed to come back and chat with us today. We had the delight of hearing from Don a couple months ago, and today's topic is going to be about past lives. And we've all got them, so we might as well talk about it and see if there's something to do about it, or at least how we can think about it. And so I just want to say that we are so delighted to have this opportunity to learn from you, Dawn, and from one another as we no doubt have an opportunity to ask questions and share this morning. And I'll leave that to you, Dawn, however you'd like to handle that. So first off, we do like to start with a grounding meditation. And although Koryanka cannot be here today because she is busy with what we spoke of earlier, I will share her grounding meditation. If we can just take 5 minutes, and I invite you to just settle wherever you are and get rid of the busy morning or evening or day, whatever, depending on what part of the planet you're on. And so that we can all come together centered.
To start, you might close your eyes if that feels good. Take 3 deep, relaxing breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We'll start scanning our bodies for any tension there might be. Starting at the head. We'll do this together. We'll just observe without making any meaning out of it. Scan the crown of your head, the back of your head, your face and neck, your shoulders, one arm and then the other, all the way down to your hands. Now your back, from the neck all the way down to the final bone of the spine. You can focus your attention now on your chest and your abdomen. Are there any sensations so far? Any muscle tension? Just observe it for now. Continue with your right leg and foot and your left leg and foot. Wherever you found tension, let it go gently by visualizing that it is a white cloud that slides down your body all the way to your feet, leaving your body through the soles of the feet. Perhaps there will be many clouds of tension leaving your body. That's great. You're letting them go. You can feel good about it. Once tension is out of your body, it will be gone and transformed into life-giving energy. Let's take a deep, relaxing breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let it feel good. You can stretch your body and make sure you are comfortable wherever you are. You are a beloved child of God and the earth, deeply connected to her. Notice how your feet are planted on the ground, either physically or energetically at all times. Feeling the earth with the soles of your feet. Feel how your energy grows and extends itself from the soles of your feet towards Mother Earth. You are growing energetic roots that go into the moist, rich soil under your feet, uniting with the Mother, receiving nourishment and love from her. The more your roots extend and go deeper and deeper into the earth, the more you feel deeply grounded and held in love by Mother Earth. Stay present in this moment. You can feel it. Remain grounded and present in this moment. Grounded and present. Grounded and present. You can gently go back to your breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more time. Now you can slowly open your eyes when it feels good to you and move your body slowly as you come back. Enjoy a beautiful day.
Well, thank you to Koryenka, who cannot be here, but she's here. So let us move on to the main attraction. I am so excited to hear from Dawn today about past lives. And so I'd like to just share a little bit of info about Dawn, first of all, for those of you who don't know Dawn. And so let me just share this. At the age of 3, Dawn knew without doubt that she was not from this planet. Struggling with life and health issues, at 16, she started her spiritual search, but her path and purpose eluded her until at the age of 39, Dawn received an estrella, an initiation in vision from the holy mountain Machu Picchu in Peru. In this vision, she was instructed to follow the path of the shaman. 21 years later, Dawn continues to work as a shamanic healer worldwide, helping clients, which are 95% star child, to heal their past, return to wholeness, and learn how to enjoy the present moment, enabling them to go on to create the lives of their dreams. Dawn is the author of A Healer of Souls from 2012. It's available on Amazon, and will shortly be publishing a book, I think any day now, solely intended to assist star children. Dawn is based in Nottingham in the UK and is a fellow of Nottingham Trent University. So again, thank you, Dawn. I'd like to turn it over to you, and please share all that you can today, and enlighten us on the topic of something maybe we should know more about, since it's true for every one of us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sue, and so nice to see you again. Thank you for inviting me back on, and thank you to Michelle for her help as well. So I don't really want to talk about, the existence of past lives today, because I think we were all there. Am I right with that? Yes. So it's more about the effects of past lives that maybe sometimes we cannot be aware of, we're not aware of, because they I remember somebody saying that, when a baby is born, it's like a clean sheet of paper, but that's absolutely not the case. It's we're born in with the energies and the imprints of trauma from all previous lifetimes, and there can be many, many hundreds, if not thousands, of lifetimes. So if you look at the lifetimes as a whole, let's for ease say that we have 100, where in likelihood it's much more than that. But let's say mm, let's say 80% of those lifetimes have been, let's say, okay. Maybe you were a farmer. Let's say you had a lovely farm, you had a lovely wife, you had lovely children, you worked hard in the fields, maybe a couple of little things here and there. And then, you pass in older age, surrounded by your family. Those lifetimes that we don't kind of need to worry about. It's the 20% or the 10% or in 5%, but around there somewhere, of lifetimes that were traumatic. So in lifetimes, obviously, we've come through history. We can be in a lifetime where maybe we're a soldier, we're killed on the battlefield, perhaps even by somebody that we know. Sometimes we can die and it's a great surprise, like we're literally not expecting it, and a friend stabs us. In this lifetime, then we're going to come in completely adrenalized, looking behind us, always expecting something bad to happen. It could be that we die in childbirth, and then we have infertility issues in this lifetime, and we're scared of bearing children in this lifetime for some reason that we can't understand. It could be that somebody killed us through a particular area of our body, and let's say a bullet through our shoulder or an axe in our back, and we've got continuous back problems or shoulder problems in this lifetime, and that nothing seems to fix them. So it's about really looking at how lifetimes are affecting us. For example, we can have phobias. I've always had a phobia of sharks, for example, and I've never seen a shark, so why have I got a phobia about it? Apart from, going to see it when I was 10, which probably wasn't, going to see the film Jaws when I was 10, which probably wasn't the best idea. We can have funny little things, funny, not like phobias, but things like, for example, I always need to have a bottle of water with me. And if I haven't got a bottle of water with me, I'm kind of concerned, I'm on edge. So there's no reason for that. There's water in taps, we can easily get water. But maybe there was a lifetime where I died in a desert or I died of thirst. So the point of particularly this lifetime for many people seems to be breaking very, very long standing patterns that have gone on and on and on from past lives. In addition, what we find is that we tend to reincarnate with the same soul group. So, for example, let's say somebody that is our husband in this lifetime could have been our son in a previous lifetime, and maybe it ends up being more of a mother-son relationship than a husband-wife relationship. Or our grandfather could have been our grandmother in a previous life, or our granddaughter in a previous life. So we all come, if you imagine a big kind of sphere of people, and we all come back again playing different roles, and then but those roles are reversed sometimes, and we normally change sex every lifetime. So for a female in this, or we born female in this lifetime, should I say, we'll be born with in the masculine, in the next lifetime, feminine, masculine, feminine, masculine. And I think this is also why there are issues around sexuality so much and sexual identity, because we don't tend to, the spirit doesn't have a gender, the body has a gender. And sometimes we can really remember a past life where we were probably the opposite sex to the sex that we have now. So past lives can affect us in all these different ways. And when we can understand that our issues may be hark back to a past life issue rather than a health issue or a relationship issue, then we can heal much faster from the things that have probably been ailing us for a long time, or these constant repeating patterns that we see in this lifetime, maybe not realizing that they go from lifetime to lifetime. So, for example, I have a client who has issues with a boyfriend, and we found that started being abusive in this lifetime. And when we started our healing work, we saw that he'd actually killed her in about at least 30 different lifetimes, but in terribly horrible ways. And it just wasn't like a bonk on the head. So we come back with certain people, as we say, to get these patterns broken. It's not a punishment per se, but it's to get these patterns broken. Does that kind of make sense? Yes, can't see anybody. I've just got Uma's blackness here.
Sorry, Dawn, it sure does. Thank you. Everyone's nodding their head.
Okay. You're all frozen for a little while. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I'm thinking most of us could even give you examples.
Good, good. So I think that, even I've had clients that have had like a rash in a particular, one lady had a rash here and on her fingers and between her fingers. And we found that in a past life, she was, not quite sure what you call it, a jousting knight, the knight that has the horse and the big charger and the big, and wears armor. And underneath armor, there's kind of like a band, like a muslin glove under the metal glove. And then there's bandages put around all the fingers and the joints. And he died in that lifetime. I think he came off his horse and broke his neck, or she had. And she had this rash and it just wouldn't go, and they had creams, and the doctors were like, we don't know what it is. But I could see that there was still like a gauntlet on her arm, it was like a brown leather, it was kind of carved, there was some sort of fleur-de-lis, and the body will tell us things that we will go to the doctor with, then he'll go, oh, well, we'll chop that off, or we'll put some cream on it, or we'll give you some drugs. But the only way that the body has to tell us, oh, there's something, here's something you need to look at, something you need to heal, is by going wrong and by having some sort of symptom. But what's revealed from the body isn't normally the issue. Does that make sense? So the rash wasn't the issue for her. The fact that the glove was still there, the bandage was still there energetically in the field was the issue. Yeah. So we can often look at a lot of heart issues, even things like sometimes we have, big beauty, I think they're called beauty spots on the body, or moles, and they can be, or even kind of odd patches of skin that are different colors. They can be remnants of woundings from previous lifetimes as well. So it's super interesting, isn't it?
Sure is.
So, anybody got any questions? Can't hear anybody.
Yeah, I don't think we have any questions yet.
So
I have a question.
what we find, yes, I can hear you. Hello.
How is it that we incarnate with a specific problem? Because we've all died hundreds of ways, or we've had hundreds of wounds, etc. So is someone deciding, okay, this time when you incarnate, you're going to have a rash on your wrist or a beauty mark, etc.
Okay, I think I understand the question. So, um, the soul, remember that the soul is in the physical body, and the soul is probably billions of years old, and it has to kind of learn everything. So, what we're trying to do is get off the cycle of birth and illness and death on Earth. Does that make sense? So, in order to get off that cycle, we need to fulfill our soul's mission. And often in our past lives, the soul's experiences block that mission. So we tend to have the same pattern. So what happens when there's, let's say there's betrayal energy, which is very prevalent at the moment. So lots of people that have probably had deaths in kind of witch trial era, that's really being brought up at the moment, and lots of people being betrayed by friends or lovers. So those patterns will come up until they're broken, until you break the pattern. Yeah, so let's say if you keep being reincarnated into abusive relationships and you keep swapping with the same partner. So when you finally stand up to that partner, when you break that pattern, then you can kind of get to the point where you can then incarnate and then have the next part of your soul's mission to fulfill. So what's going to take you to the next level rather than being stuck in a loop for hundreds of years. And the reason that we attract the same thing is because the lifetimes create imprints in the energy field. So they're like remember those little, what are they called, iPod Nanos that used to say like it's 1,000 songs in your pocket. So it's imagine that somebody just keeps pressing this little button and the same songs keep playing. So while the same songs keep playing, also the same things are magnetized to us because we live in a holographic environment. So whatever is going on in here in the energy field is projected out, and then we see basically the things that probably we don't want to see, but we need to see so we can get the patterns broken, so we can heal what needs to be healed. So it won't be random this and random that. It'll probably be the same scenario in different ways. Does that make sense?
Yes, what I heard is you will continue to keep incarnating with the same wounds until you clear them.
Yeah, until you
What I
break
heard.
the patterns. Yeah.
I had one more question.
Of course.
How big are these soul groups? Because I feel like I've met or come across hundreds of people that feel familiar to me, maybe at least 300 people. So how big are you finding are these soul groups?
Um, well, I would say probably that literally everybody we meet, we've probably met before in some way. But you know, if you imagine like a play on the stage, there's sort of the major roles, and then there's sort of medium roles, and then there's small roles, and then there's tiny roles, and then there's like extras and background people. Does that make sense? So they tend to, the people that were in the background tend to stay in the background in this lifetime. In the 300 people, they're probably not all maybe members of your family. Does that make sense? They're going to
Yeah.
be, you know, people that kind of probably work in the corner shop type of thing that you see every day to get your milk, you know, they're going to be more random. But also what can happen when you would sort of dating is that when you have these very strong connections with people, sometimes the trauma bonds with people, and the fireworks go off, and you go, "Oh, I feel like I've known him forever." That can feel very romantic, but it's often again a past life connection where you've come together again, maybe to break a pattern. And what you see is very early on, particularly in, let's say, where there's a narcissistic environment going on, that it's not very nice for a couple of months, and then it all starts to crumble, and then it all feels very familiar, like, oh, I feel like I've been here before, you know. And so we're getting the same patterns, the same conflicts all of the time, and attracting the same people. And we do know people, you know. I have friends, and I kind of, you know, you meet them and you kind of go, you're very familiar, yes, and then you have a really great close relationship with them. But then you can also have some friends that you see, and then it's like you're struggling to connect with them, and if you don't see them like every week, it's like they kind of drift from your mind. Whereas the best friends are friends that you kind of feel that you've maybe not seen or spoken to for 6 months, but when you do speak to them, or even a year. I've got a friend like that in Sweden. You know, sometimes we speak once every year, every 18 months, but it's when I speak to her, it's like I spoke to her yesterday, because there's this constant, almost communication between souls the rest of the time. Yeah. So I don't know exactly how big the soul groups are, but it will be the roles sort of, you know, expanding out. And the ones that are the main players will have always been the main players, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh,
answer the question, yeah.
Don, Richard has his hand up, and then after him, John Michael. Go ahead, Richard. Thank you, Celisa.
Thank you. Thank you. This is my first time. Listening to her, I feel like I'm watching an episode of Downtown Abbey. Very, very nice.
Oh, Downton Abbey, yeah. Well, interestingly, I live in a village called Woollerton, and across the road is a park called Woollerton Park, and in Woollerton Park is Woollerton Hall, and Woollerton Hall is Downton Abbey. It's exactly the same architect.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks the same building.
Are you near Nottingham Forest?
Not too far away. It's about 30 minutes away.
Okay, because now I know how Maid Marian sounded like.
Yes, well, we have lots of roads called, you know, Maid Marian Way and all of that sort of. Although I don't have a Nottingham accent, I have more of a London accent.
You mean
Nottingham.
a Cockney accent?
No, not a Cockney. No, that's quite different. The apples and pears and that kind of thing.
It worked for Michael Caine.
Well, I was born here, but I moved away
Yeah.
for 30 years, London.
Okay, I have twofold questions.
Yes.
I go to YouTube about videos about religious stuff, and sometimes, like, I'm put into a toxic family to be a lesson point for the person who is toxic to stop being toxic. And failing that, he then goes on his destiny, which will not be that good. So I don't know if there's anything involved true to that. And the second thing is, Dr. Carl Jung mentions how somebody is born into a family line to try to break a transgenerational curse of that family line. Whether he or she can do that is another question, but they're given that opportunity to break that transgenerational line. And thirdly, maybe my father who whipped me, maybe in a previous life I was his father and I whipped him.
Yes.
And therefore this is a learning opportunity of why I should not do that in future generations. So I don't know if I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
Just throwing it out.
It's a great example. Thank you. So I kind of go in reverse. So yeah, so let's say people go, oh no, my father whipped me in this lifetime, and then there's, you know, all of the victim stuff going on with that, all of the victim relationships that you then create through life that need healing. But healing is often about looking at the bigger picture, because if somebody has abused you, therefore, it's highly unlikely, if you are looking at, you know, soul groups, that, and we're all in them, that this person has appeared from nowhere and done this thing to you. So as you say, yes, he whipped you in this lifetime, but let's say in last lifetime you were his mother and whipped him. Yes, and before and before and before. So the thing is that the benefit of doing the past life healing is that somebody needs to break the pattern. Somebody goes, oh, I've got the whip. Oh, I could do this, but I think I won't. I think I will make a better choice. And then breaking the pattern, which is the same as going in and breaking the ancestral curse. An ancestral curse isn't like somebody's done a spell, like got a little doll and done a spell and done sorcery. It's somebody will have trauma. See here, let's say, I don't know, Middle Ages. And let's say I had a client once that had terrible, terrible, terrible problems with their knee, and it was hurting the whole time. Nobody could fix it. They wanted to go dancing, been through the whole medical profession, scans, tablets, injections, everything. And we found that when we looked at the knee and we traced it back, there was an ancestor, which is obviously different to a past life, but who had been, is it called nobbled, where it's like a form of torture where the kneecaps get sort of smashed off. And
Sounds like an English torture to me. Is that
yeah,
what,
probably,
like with the Iron
yeah,
Maiden
medieval
or something?
England torture. Yeah, we were pretty nasty, to be honest. So saw this person screaming, screaming, and I saw the scream go into the DNA. So all of our DNA also has all of our ancestors in it. So in a way, this is why that the baby is never the clean sheet, because we've got all of the stuff that comes in from the soul and of lifetimes of ours, and then all of the stuff that's coming in from the ancestors, from the bloodline as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really why it's important to do your personal healing work.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting in Buddhism and some of the manifesting, that stuff. You have an inner child. Each one of us has an inner child. And
Yeah.
rather than confronting it or battling it or cutting it out, you visualize it as a baby and you nurture it and you care for it and you say to it, I love you, I accept you. And somehow you reconcile yourself with that inner child. And
Yeah.
from there, you can be more of an enlightened soul or human being or whatever.
It's very important to do inner child work. So I always do that with clients, and we have different ages in different chakras. So you don't necessarily go back and see yourself as the baby. You go back to the age. So normally we have birth to 3 years old in the base chakra, 3 to 6-ish in the sacral chakra, 7 to 10 in the solar plexus, and then 10 to 13 in the heart. And so they're all in separate little rooms in the chakras, if you like. So it's about going to the chakra of the appropriate age. But not only is it about saying, I love you, it's also about saying, I'm here for you. And often when you go into these rooms, they're very horrible kind of places. They're dark, for example, or they're like dungeons with the dripping walls, or sometimes it's like white space, particularly for star children. They go, oh, it's just white space, just white light. There's no furniture, there's no bed, then they wonder why they're not sleeping. So no, we're digressing a little bit from past lives, but all of these things, ancestral issues, past life issues, inner child issues. The inner child's about the consciousness of the body. We can't be happy, we can't be healthy if we've got a very upset inner child.
Yeah.
So all of these things need looking at. And as
Now,
you're saying about toxic family going into help or trigger things in families, so we come in with soul contracts, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, to achieve something specific in a lifetime. So we have a role, we have a thing to achieve so that certain things may happen. So if you imagine Jesus having a soul contract to do what he did, but also Judas having a soul contract to do what he did, because if it wasn't for him, Jesus couldn't have gone on his journey. This is why I think the Buddhists say, try not to judge. Yes, because we don't know why certain people have come in and what they've come to trigger. You know, there might have been a soul agreement before incarnation between Jesus and Judas, and as that is for all of us.
Mhm.
Let's say it's you and I up there, I might say, please do this to me because I need to learn this in this lifetime. And it's like being in a TV drama. You're giving people scripts going,
Yeah.
treat me like this. I want to learn that. Then I want to go.
Yeah, they say that meeting a person or that person leaving you is a spiritual lesson that you must learn. Each person is different. You must learn. But the interesting thing is, Edgar Casey said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. For the
Yes.
heart is the seat of life.
Yes, absolutely. So I think somebody else put it that it's what a man does when nobody is looking is the best test of kind of character, which is the same thing, really. So it's a who are you in here? And sometimes, you know, that can be quite have a darkness about it because again, let's say for example, I have a lot of people that are maybe healers wanting to help people in this lifetime. I had a guy once that wanted to do uh, herbal medicine once, and he signed up to do the course. And he said to me, "I can't do the course. I can't do it. I want to do it, but every time I pick up the books, I feel ill." And lots and lots of people have been, particularly star children, drawn to healing paths in past lives because you come into life as a star child in every life. And then you're going to be drawn to truth, you're going to be drawn to healing, you're going to be drawn to helping people. And as we know, people that have been drawn to those paths have been persecuted throughout history. So his body, I have a look at that at a moment. His body was telling him, don't touch this stuff. His ego mind's like, don't touch this stuff, it's going to lead to your demise.
Yep.
Yes.
They say in religious Christianity anyway, there's two criteria for kindness. First, you help a person that can never help you. And the
Mm-hmm.
second thing is you do your kindness in secret. Because if
Yeah.
you boast about your kindness, that shows that you are not kind. So you should never publicize your kindness.
It's not necessarily, yeah, I get you and you're right. And it's a good point, but it's really about the reason for your kindness. Are you doing the kindness out of your heart, or you're doing the kindness so you can tell people, oh, I did this for so and so today. Oh, I've spent my whole week doing this for so and so today. I've been here today for so and so. And it almost becomes like I don't know, a badge, a medal. So you're doing it for ego mind needs rather than soul needs. But
Or you,
another, if I may, I just would want, just before I forget, because sometimes things come in and then they go very quickly, and it's a really important point. A lot of people are born in, a lot of people that are drawn to the healing path are born in with a lot of guilt and a lot of shame. And what can tend to happen is that, and I see this all the time, all week, nearly every day, is that let's say you've had a tranche of lifetimes and you've helped people in all those lifetimes. Let's say for ease, the last lifetime you were a witch, you helped your community, you birthed the babies, you looked after the sick, you made the poultices. So then let's say that you're betrayed by somebody that you've helped, or even your husband. You know, in the witch trials, it was like kind of dob somebody in, else it will be you next type of thing. So there was a lot of betrayal in those times. But let's say your faith is very, very strong. Let's say I've worked on the side of the light. I've worked in alignment with the divine. I know they're saying they're going to, burn me at the stake, but, that's probably not going to happen. I will be rescued. I'll be pardoned. But we aren't pardoned. And the biggest grief I feel and anger and rage in people is that they have served lifetime, in great faith. And at their moment of crisis, they have thought, I will be rescued. A big hand will come down and take me from the stake or the gallows. And they aren't, and they die horrible, horrible death. So what they then misinterpret is that we are not our bodies, we are souls. When we're in those situations, we're very much in the ego mind, like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? And obviously it's not very nice, but God hasn't forgotten that. God knows that when you die, you're going to go up automatically for him. He doesn't need to get you the pardon. He doesn't need to have the big hand lifting you, because he knows you're going to be arriving very soon. This is actually what Jesus was trying to show us when he was on the cross, that he wasn't in fear. I know he had a couple of little slips, but he was basically, I am not this body, soon I will be with my Father. But what happens with these lifetimes is that we have this huge amount of faith. God doesn't come and rescue us, and then we kind of go, oh well, I've got a certain amount of power and I used it for good, and look what happened to me, so now I'm going to use it for my benefit. And we come into a lifetime pretty much every client I've come across, and there's probably been thousands over 21 years, misuse their power in a lifetime, at least one lifetime. And maybe we kill loads of people or damage loads of people or land or whatever it is. And sometimes, we don't really realize our power. Sometimes we do know it and we knowingly misuse it. Then we die from that lifetime. And then in our life review, we see the destruction we've caused, the havoc we've caused, the grief we've caused for probably thousands of people. So then we have the massive guilt, massive guilt. And then we come in on a very reduced level. I'll have a tiny life, nothing will work out for me. I will punish myself, but also God doesn't love me. God abandoned me. God hates me. Yeah. So that's a very difficult setup, but lots and lots of people are living like that because they misinterpret God.
They say that before you can have self-redemption, you must have self-forgiveness.
Mm.
And we are not drops in the ocean.
No.
We are an ocean in a drop.
Mm-hmm. You're nothing and we are everything. Yeah. But it's about, we have to forgive ourselves for those lifetimes because it was pure misunderstanding, the anger, the rage, the misuse of power, misunderstanding that we weren't loved. But I think also we have to have these lifetimes where we're naughty, really, because we need to understand the effects of misuse of power.
Yeah, they say strength is defined in two things: resilience, which we all seem to have, and purpose. The question is, each of us have a different purpose. We have to discover our own purpose before we can lead what we're supposed to do, what we're supposed to live.
Yeah,
we need to know our purpose, and each one is different.
Each one is different, and it's not like something, a letter gets delivered when we're 18, and it would be lovely if it was, to be honest, and go, this is your purpose. We have to find it. And sometimes it can be very subtle. Sometimes it's like Judas allowing somebody else to go on their journey. But it's also about, I love the whole concept of non-judgment, because we don't know. If you imagine, it's like life's like a massive clock. If you look at the inside of a clock, there's big cogs and little cogs and medium-sized cogs and teeny tiny cogs, and every one of them is essential. Every tiny movement is essential in order for the clock to work. So when somebody does something, we don't necessarily understand why they've done something, but we have to trust that everything is in divine and perfect order. And when we
There are
can,
no there are no coincidences in life.
no,
I've
they're not.
learned that.
You are
But
right.
as Jesus said, Father, forgive them for they know what they do. And he could
Yeah.
say that. But
Yes.
we have to say, Father, forgive me, for I know not what I do.
Well, we don't, in a way, but we're always forgiven, whatever we've done. We're always forgiven. The issue is always the forgiveness of the self, as you mentioned earlier. God forgives, God loves, God's love is unconditional. He gave us free will. You can't say to your child, you can do anything you want, and then they do something naughty, and then we go, that was really bad, and I'm going to punish you. If we have free will, we have to be allowed to use it. But the biggest issue is the punishment, almost the sorcery that we do on ourselves.
Well, there was a near-death experience with this guy. He was really bad, okay? And he went through the light and he was afraid. He was going to hell. He knew it. And there was a silvery being that came up to him and had sensed what he had thought and said, don't worry. Life is a classroom. It is not a courtroom.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is, a lot of us can be living in fear, particularly in these current ages. And it's really about understanding that, nothing is real. I am not this body. I'm not really Dawn. I've been told I'm just under 4 billion years old. We're probably as souls all around about that age. We've had gazillions of lifetimes, not only on this planet. I deal with lifetimes on other planets. I've had lifetimes with people on the sun. Not quite sure how that happens, but I've been there. I had a client the other day who's come in with, what did he come in with? So he's had an awful lot of guilt and shame. He's always trying to please everybody. He's doing everything for everybody else. He's trying to help everybody. He's pretending to be happy. He's pretending to be joyful. He's not happy. He's not joyful. He's actually in great pain and nothing seems to shift it. And I did a past life healing for him on Wednesday, I think it was, no, Tuesday. And I was shown him on in another star system on another planet. He loved it. He was somehow kind of governing it or supposed to look after it or being the guardian of it. And it exploded, and I saw him being jettisoned into space. And as he was jettisoned, it's like his heart left his body, and he was full of pain and grief for the loss of this planet. And interestingly, in this lifetime, he's an astrologer. He's just, every day he sends out, these things about Mercury's doing this and Uranus is doing that and Saturn's going to come in and do that. And this is how it's going to affect us. And his love for the planets is immense, as is his pain. So, when I told him, he said, this makes absolute perfect sense. So we have lifetimes all over the place. This planet is a school, as you so rightly said. It's where we come to take up a physical vehicle, because we can't, our natural state is an energy body. So, but we can't really, if I'm an energy body and is it Richard? Is it Richard?
Yes.
And you're an energy body and I try and hurt you, it's not really going to do anything, is it? Because you're just going to move some of your energy a little bit. So we take up physical bodies so we can experience pain, so we can learn more. And that's really why we're here. So we're in a school to have soul lessons, and everything is a hologram. And do you know the saying? It's from Hermes Trismegistus, about, I don't know, 6,000 years ago. As above, so below, as within, so without. Everything in your life comes from in here, comes from your soul, is there with your imprints, your signature all over it. Everything that's in your life is for you. And when you can start to see life as a school and lessons, and with trust in the divine, like whatever this is, there's something in it for me, there's learning in it for me, there's something for my soul, for me. Even if it seems really bad, you lose a child, for example, then we can be sure that we're then on our path, and hopefully we can keep coming here and reincarnating. Does anybody else have any questions?
I'll just jump in, Dawn, and read John Michael's question, and then we'll go on to Celicia, who has her hand up. John Michael says, does our purpose change with each lifetime? Or do we have a basic purpose and we need to explore these lifetimes to find our purpose? Thank you for that question.
Thank you. Yes. So it depends. My sense is it depends. So let's say you come to learn unconditional love. I always remember having a friend that he was grief-stricken, and when I met him, because his brother was a couple of years older than him, he was quite young, in his 20s, he had died, leaving a wife and 4 very small children. And this guy, this is, God, this is about 35 years ago now, if not more. So this guy was completely grief-stricken about the death of this brother. How could this happen? How could he leave this beautiful wife, these 4 children? And he was watching television one day, and he went into his kitchen, made a cup of tea, came back to the sofa, and his brother was sitting on the sofa. He could see him as clear as day, and his like tea went all over the place. And he was like, "Oh my God, oh, you're here. Oh, you're all right. Why did you leave us? What's going on? How could you leave those children?" And the man said, "I came to learn unconditional love. This was my soul's mission. I learned it from my relationship with my wife and my children. When you achieve your soul's mission in life, it sounds a bit brutal, but you don't need to be here anymore." Yeah. So you then, because nature's very, very efficient. Yes. If you learn your soul's mission at 30 and you've achieved it, then yeah, you don't need to be around for another 40 years, because that's waste. Yeah. So nature kind of goes, well done, off you go, next round. So if that guy, let's use him as an example. I didn't know his name, so forgive me. But if he'd come in and lived till he was 85 and hadn't learned unconditional love, then he has to come back until he does it. If that answers the question. If because he came in and he learned it, the next lifetime he can learn his next lesson and go on another soul's mission, because we have to experience everything and get to a zero kind of karmic balance, bank balance, if you like, before we can leave here. And so I remember having many years ago, about 15 years ago, a client phoned me up and she said, I've had a baby and the baby is blind and I don't want it to be blind, so you need to make it not blind. And I said, okay, well, leave it with me and I'll come back to you. And she said, well, what do you mean, leave it with you? And I said, well, I need to speak to the divine. I need to speak to the soul of the child, because it maybe has come in to experience blindness, because we have to experience everything. And she went, don't be so ridiculous. why would a child want to be blind? Why would somebody want to be blind? And I said, because when you're blind, you've lost a sense, so all of the other senses are illuminated, they're all enhanced. And it's a different experience, and we have to experience. And she went, "Oh, you're ridiculous." And she put the phone down. So this is why it's important to trust in that, there was also a little boy, this is a very well-known story. He's sadly passed now, but he was born sighted, and at 2, I think he had cancer, and they had to remove his eyes. And his mother was very religious, and the little boy woke up and after the surgery and said, "Mummy, I can't see anything." And she went, "So give me your hand. Here's my face. Smell me. Here I am. It's just your eyes. It's not a big thing." And the little boy kind of went, "Hmm, okay." And he grew up and he developed something. Can't remember the actual name now. It's a very long time ago. Is it echolocation? So he started to do a little click in his mouth like this, and he could feel where everything was in the house. So he could skateboard down the road, and if a bin had fallen over from the curb, he would go around it because he could feel it, he could sense it. No eyeballs, nothing, no sight whatsoever. He could even play video games. He could throw a cushion at his brother and hit him. And this little boy went on to teach thousands of blind people this clicking method. So rather than being a mistake, and I think he passed when he was about 18, and the church was absolutely packed with all these people. So so you can see that that was his mission. He came to help all of those people. Does that make sense? So this is why, we sometimes the missions that may appear to be like, oh, yeah, but it's about moving away from judgment from yourself and from anybody else. And everyone, literally everyone, even these historical figures that we've all hated, they've all come for a purpose. They've all done what they've done. It's like a beautiful mosaic that in itself is perfect. Does that make sense? So when we can let go of the ego mind's need to understand, but why? But why? Because we like everything to make sense, but this it doesn't make sense. There is no sense. So we just, whatever we're presented with, we have to kind of go, okay, well, I don't understand why my child is blind, but I will trust. Like the lady, she didn't go, "Oh, you haven't got your eyes. Oh, it's so awful." She was like, "So here's my face, here's my smell, get on with it." Because she just knew that she had great faith, and she just thought, well, this must be what the divine wants for my son, so I will accept it. And life becomes much easier when we go with it, rather than when we go against it.
Indeed. Thank you. Ask Alicia, please.
This question is about romantic soulmates.
Mm-hmm.
There was a period of my life, maybe a decade, where I refused to pursue any romantic relationship that I felt was going to be with a soulmate, because in my experience, whenever I pursue those relationships, they were pretty miserable. And I would seem worse off afterwards than before I went into them. And my question is, are you finding that with these highly magnetic, romantic soulmates, is the point to let the person go and detach and learn how to be okay without them? Or are you really finding that it's the point is to come together to work something out.
Yeah, definitely. So Lucy, so the point is to come together to work something out. So it's not really about letting the person go, it's about letting the pattern go. So let's say if they become verbally abusive, and let's say that that's a pattern that you have in your relationships, you have to think about what is a common denominator, and the common denominator is you. Everything's coming from you, as above so below, as within so without. So the question isn't so much why are they doing that, yeah, it's
May I
why
say
am
something?
I attracting them?
Yeah, may I say,
I need.
sometimes you know before you even get into the relationship that the person is, I don't want to blame them, but you can see toxic behaviors. You can already see it a mile away. It's it's not going to be good, or that's not what you're about. You can
Yeah.
maybe see red flags, etc.
So
So
why would you go into a relationship if you can see red flags before you're in the relationship?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So really it's about, another thing I do is look at beliefs. So there have to be, subconscious beliefs, because your head belief is going to be, I can be happy in a relationship, I want a love relationship. Your subconscious belief could be, I don't deserve a relationship, I was bad, I've done this or whatever. So we have to look at all that.
I guess I'm having maybe the opposite issue, which is to refuse to engage with the person, but refusing to engage with the person doesn't kill the magnetic attraction. And a lot of great force goes into staying away from the person or not interacting with the person. But that
So you
doesn't,
have to build it here. So
yeah,
you've still got magnets, yes?
magnets,
Yeah,
yes. A
that's
great,
trying to calm, either they're trying to come back or similar. So the way that you cope with it is, oh, I won't see anybody then. But what you need to do is go, I need to heal this so I don't keep seeing that, or keep having to push that away or refuse to deal with it. Does that help?
yeah, yeah.
Good. Anybody else? Is there somebody else?
Yes, Kevin has his hand up. Go ahead, Kevin. Thank you.
I'm not really sure if this is really how to really explain this or whatever, but I'll try. So,
Okay.
like, I've noticed. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I noticed in this lifetime, I've been ripped through countless timelines and countless versions of reality. I know my past lives have no karma or anything to clear, and that I didn't choose to be in this life of my own free will. I was like sent here as like a wisp of myself. And so I've kind of experienced what Cecilia, I'm sorry, Cicely? Or, sorry, I'm butchering your name. I feel horrible.
Oh, Silesia. Thank you.
Alicia?
Yes,
Uh,
Alicia.
I kind of experienced like what she went through, but with, I'm not sure how to put it. It's like my twin flame was fragmented into more than one person. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm having to deal with things from like heaven, although they're trying to tell me not to talk about this. I'm having to deal with things like on the level of archangels attacking me, and then balancing what people are doing on the world itself with aliens and timelines and gods and all these different things. Although I have the power to do whatever I want, I keep choosing to do for the good of others and giving selflessly, not just to this world, but to countless worlds and universes and everything out there. And I don't have the energy to protect myself. And I'm not allowed to defend myself either. So I'm kind of wondering, like, since I've been killed and resurrected so many times, and like a lot of this is going against the natural order, and I'm wondering what am I, and just how long am I supposed to hold back? Because I know I've been told, like, although I can do anything, I'm basically laying down my life for others, and at the same time I've been told it's not my time to be here. So
Mm-hmm.
what is actually going on? Because I can't love anyone else, obviously, and it's like I don't know what to make of this life, even though I know who I am.
So the question is, what is the question?
I guess what I'm trying to ask is, inside of all of that, it's an odd thing to say, but like, I wanted to ask more than anything, when can I die?
Whenever.
Not like that. I mean, like, basically, like, when can I do whatever it is that I'm here to do? I don't mean for like the free will choice to do it. Like, when am I going to stop being ripped through the timelines and balancing all this stuff for everyone? And like, when can I finally like lay down this life and go back home, because it takes so much out of me to stay at this level, because I'm not at this level.
I
Just
think
me
it
relaxing
sounds
for a moment.
like
I'm out of
there
here.
it sounds like there are kind of greater needs on the healing side, Kevin, if I'm completely honest, and also looking
Yeah,
at
that's the thing. It's not for
why.
me that I'm doing the healing. It's for
But
others.
it has to be for you that you're doing the healing, because that's the only person you can actually really affect. And if you don't do your own healing, you can't really affect anyone else. You can't really help other people. And
If that
so
was the case, then how do I
why
affect the world with my thoughts and actions? And it changes the entire world. My thoughts and actions receive the events and moods and motions, and I find out later on that these things are prophesized. And it's not like I'm channeling again information, because when I choose not to do something, like, that thing gets thrown out the window. And so when I say I'm doing the healing for others, it's literally like, if you almost look like countless streams coming from up above and coming through the body and reaching out into everywhere. I know they
okay.
keep wanting me to go back up, but it's like, instead of doing going back up thing, it's almost like I'm channeling my gifts that are given to me from up there out into everyone else so they can receive. If that makes
Well,
sense.
again, it depends on, what is your soul contract, in this lifetime. If it is to serve and do these things for other people, as you say it is, then there shouldn't be then the when can I get out of here side. So the two things don't go together.
Is it
Yeah.
possible to serve others' contracts when they it's too much for them? I don't mean like serve. I mean, like, is it possible that I'm just a free will being that is selflessly
No,
helping many others with such
no.
things?
And it seems like your focus is on others and not on you. And you can only come and live on your soul's journey, be on your soul's journey and do things for you. And on the way, you can be there, you can help others in some ways. But I think it sounds like there's an awful lot going on with you. There's possibly like a martyr type of complex going on. And that needs
Well,
to be.
that's definitely one way to describe a past life that I'm aware of, for sure.
Well, yeah. But the thing is that it's also, I think there's a lot of ego mind involved in identity, and it's about letting things go, letting roles go, and getting to the point where you can fulfill your soul's contract, and in a way that is easier for you to deal with. Because it could be, again, as I said before, you've had lifetimes where you were naughty, shall we say, in inverted commas, and in this lifetime you've chosen to give yourself a hard time. Because to say that archangels are attacking you, that kind of doesn't really go with the other things that you're saying. So
My life is full of a whole bunch of contradiction and truths, and they all are actually true
but then
in the
it's
end.
about looking at what's going on inside. As I said to Celicia, it's about looking at what's going on to attract that. And
The sad
are
part
you
is like, I don't have ego involved, because if I
I
did, I would
think
just leave and not be involved in this and let people play out their own stories.
but people need to play out their own stories. You can't actually, the thing is, if somebody, let's say Silesia has something that she has come to learn specifically, and you go in there and you try and like prevent her, help her, then and take that thing away from her, then she might not have then that thing to do in her life. Let's say it's not a very nice thing, but she's also not going to have the lessons from it. And then she's going to have to come and reincarnate again
I
to
know.
get
That's what I'm very careful about.
so I think this is probably, another conversation for another time because it's slanting off past lives a little bit. But
Yeah,
really,
I
it's
kind of figured it was because I couldn't figure out how to word it, and then even your reaction to it was kind of like off of what I like know. So like I wasn't sure if I should say it or not, but I figured I wanted to try because I'm
no,
not sure how to
I
even
know. Well,
put it into
we
words.
had a similar conversation last time, but I think that there's, if you feel that you're being attacked to the things again, it's about looking at what in you, what beliefs in you, what contracts in you, what soul contracts in you,
I
you know,
noticed when you did talk
are
about
you
the ego
attracting
thing
that.
though, when I tried to just like completely let go of it, like if there was such a thing as ego, I just relaxed as much as I could. It felt like there was like an ocean or more of like white light like pouring down upon me. I don't know how to describe it,
Yeah.
whatever that is. But it
We
was like
can't,
it wasn't
you,
like anything changed. It just like they put more energy through me to do whatever it is they're doing.
you can't get rid of your ego mind. It's a physical thing. It's in your head. It's managing your temperature. It's telling you to sleep. It's telling you to eat. You can't get rid of it. You've got to learn to manage it, you know. Um, but I think that, I think there are some, healing needs to address, and I think it might be worthwhile looking at them so that you have an easier time of it here, because it doesn't sound like you're having a lot of fun. And
Yeah, it's kind of funny to say that,
children to
considering.
suffer, you know?
Mm.
Thank you, Dawn, and Kevin, and everybody. We're at 20 past the hour, so I just want to jump in and see if there's other questions. If anyone else, I was just going to comment, um, Dawn, that I think it's so helpful to hear this from you, in part because these things come up, right? And we don't know why. And just even accepting we may not know why, but that it's not against us, that there's something here, that it's all a mirror. There's something being shown to us, and I'm
Yeah.
flashing on all the neck trouble Michael's had in his life, and yet we know in a past life he was like decapitated. So, he lives with neck problems.
Yeah. I
Right? And I've been in the
have to
healing.
live with neck problems to heal the past life.
Yeah.
You have to heal the past life. The neck problems are the past life still upset about that.
Yeah.
So you have to go and heal the actual past life. Sometimes they want to do things like sew the head back on. You have to get all the meridians back in place because there's damage to the energy field. Yeah. So when you've healed it properly, the neck pain will go.
Yeah. Right.
Does that
And
make
I
so,
sense?
keep seeing
Yeah.
it from a rope that he was hung on. I like
well,
wanted to ask the same thing. So I'm like, why aren't you just healing it?
and this is
Yeah.
to your point, like sure there's all the oh yes, injuries from all the sports Michael played and everything. And yet still, we know that there's more to it than the 3D explanations, Um, and I
Yeah.
think we see a lot of what you're saying around, especially in the say spiritual circles where people are speaking openly about these matters, a lot of people in the healing arts and what you're saying around shame, I'm thinking about the betrayal part, right? Where the shame, people rejected you, I have a very clear past life about that. And think, oh, no wonder I came in and I've chosen to be a registered nurse because I can be in the healing and people aren't condemning. And yet it's not really the passion, but it's a safe decision. And yet I have a cupboard full of, homeopathy and natural therapies and all that, right? So it's so interesting how you
Yeah.
can, look objectively at your life and know there's these influences you're under that have shaped, where you are. And for me, there's some relief in it because
I
again,
don't know if
rather
this
than
makes any
condemning
sense to
yourself.
say.
Absolutely. I mean, it could even be things like, there's people with shame, people with issues around sex, for example. It could be that, in many years gone by, there were kind of temples where women were available, for the pleasure of others. It was a role, and then, if you die from that lifetime, and then it's almost coming into this lifetime with like, oh no, that was, I'm going to keep all of that away from myself now. I'm not comfortable. Or you could be a nun in a past life, and now you've got lots of problems around sex because there's something like, oh God, I shouldn't be doing this, vows that have been taken. You could have been a monk, so all of these things, even depression. I had a client once that had everything you could wish for, really. She had a beautiful home, she had a lovely husband, she had amazing children, everybody was happy, everything was good. She taught yoga, she was healthy, literally everything 10 out of 10. But she suffered from huge depression and she didn't know why. And we found a past life of her as an Indian chief, head of a tribe, and he'd gone to do a ceremony up on a, I don't know, like it was, if you imagine like there's a valley below and he's up on a sort of a mountain ridge doing a ceremony. And another tribe came in and slaughtered his tribe when he was, or she was, up there watching it, but powerless to do anything, and didn't have the time, to get back down from the mountain and fight and help, and had to watch helpless while this slaughter happened and everything went up in flames. And the grief, it was grief that she was feeling of like failing what she felt like was her responsibility. So when we went to heal the past life man, I let him know that there's, nothing that he could have done. And he said, okay, well, I will go, because these past lives, they don't go to heaven. They stay like in our fields, if you like. So they're trapped in like a limbo. But he said, I will be healed. You can heal me, but you have to heal all of them first. And we literally had to heal the whole of the tribe in the valley. And then when they were all up, the souls were up to heaven, because of course it was a surprise attack. Then he was able to go to heaven as well. And then her depression lifted and she was fine. So it's a myriad of ways in which they can affect us.
Yes, thank you, Dawn. And, I was thinking of our teacher in Peru who in the Gnostic teachings, they say that we have 108 lifetimes in a 26,000 year cycle. And, when you get into trillions of years, then, we can see the numbers you're talking about. And the 108 sort of aligns with, Buddhism and other things in terms of the numbers. But I think we can see how we have a lot of opportunity to develop themes and carrying them around like old luggage that we could be better off to get rid of, and that is not
Yeah,
serving us
yeah.
anymore. In fact, harming us in some way of getting on with our soul's purpose to get out of the fog of the past, and
It's our soul's purpose often is to break
sure,
to
to break
break
it
the,
down.
to break the contract, to break the pattern.
Yes,
It's a contract, yeah,
right.
So if
Yeah,
you're having, awful abusive relationships about, I've come to learn unconditional love. I'm going to get rid of you and I'm going to have you.
right.
But
And
sometimes if if things are unhealed, I don't deserve unconditional love. I deserve all this abuse. So that's where you have to heal it as well.
yes. And, our teacher
There's
said that
also
you're
certain things
coming
related to
along.
the planet and the time too.
And so what our teacher is saying, you're coming along in your lifetime, Dawn, and you see the person again, and you can just say, hi, nice to see you, and keep going. Or you can sit down, have coffee, start the conversation, decide you want to date. Oh, now we're going to get married, we're going to have kids, and we're going to start fighting, and we're going to get a divorce. And then we're going to do the whole thing over next lifetime until we wake up to what it is we're trying to heal through this relationship. Next time we see them, we walk past and go, oh, great to see you. And we keep going and we don't stop
Yeah,
and do the whole thing
yeah,
over
keep going,
again.
keep walking, yeah.
Yeah, keep walking.